Nancy Martinez. I'm the director of the Independent Retail Customer Channel and Marketing at LenBuschRoses, and welcome to LBR Talks, where we share nuggets on leadership and business to help you elevate and advance your floral business. So today I'm at the Floral Distribution Conference in Miami, Florida, and I have a special guest, Steve Dionne from Flowers, who has this awesome brand and movement that they've started to help us and you talk to your customers about the importance of flowers every day. So not just holidays. And I mean, wait till you listen. You need to listen to the very end. He has so much good information, and the amount of professionalism that went into this, and really that it's a gift what they did for us and for the industry. So I'm going to quit talking and we'll just jump to my interview with Steve. Hi, I'm Nancy Martinez and welcome to LBR Talks. Today we're at the Floral Distribution Conference in Miami, and my special guest is Steve Dionne. Did I say that right?
Yes, Dionne, that's right. Well played.
Yeah, thanks. From Flowers, and super excited to have him here because Flowers has done something I think is really special for the industry, and they've created a brand and called that Flower Feeling.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so can you just, why? What was the passion behind it, and what was the reason that you guys decided to take this on?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to have me on. I really appreciate it. The why is kind of a big deal because we started with market research 4 years ago. We made a big investment because we knew that the industry needed direct-to-consumer marketing, and that was a kind of aspirational goal for the Flowers board at the time. I actually was on the board of directors at that time before I moved into a staff position with Flowers. And so I was deeply involved in all these discussions, and what we knew is that if we could actually increase consumption in the U.S. market, it's the single greatest thing we could do for our members. There's nothing more impactful that we could do than influence consumers to buy more flowers, because that helps everybody in all segments of the floriculture supply chain. However, it's a very difficult thing to pull off. And so we knew that we would have to take a very careful, strategic approach. And we want to start with some market analysis. And that pointed us towards our demographics, which in this case turned out to be skewing heavily towards women aged 25 to 35 with a household income of $60,000 and up. That's kind of our slice. And then when we worked with 180 Amsterdam, which is a Dutch marketing agency, that they're our primary partner in the content production, they had also worked with the Flower Council in Holland, and they had done very similar market research, which led them to the same demographic. So we knew at that point that we had it right in terms of who we were trying to influence with whatever message we would end up developing. And that eventually led to a deeper engagement with 180 Amsterdam in terms of what the creative content might look like. And so we made the decision that the goal would be to move cut flowers from a luxury item that's mainly tied to life events, whether it be weddings, funerals, holidays, parties, things of that nature. And we wanted to really change consumer mindset to where flowers could be just part of your everyday routine. And we thought the best way to do that was to move it into the self-care space. So the same psychological triggers that cause someone to go to a yoga session or go to the gym or put a new piece of art on the wall or anything of those kind of along that line that make people feel better and kind of a wellness approach, we thought that was the right spot to move flowers into. And that's what led to the campaign and the brand. You mentioned there's a brand, That Flower Feeling.
That Flower Feeling, yep.
And then there's a campaign that we're currently rolling out called Flowers Self-Care Made Easy.
All right, so we'll show that pretty easily here with the shirt. So the brand, and I love it, That Flower Feeling. Because really, I mean, that is really what we're trying to invoke, is the feelings that flowers bring to give people.
Very much so,
So
yeah.
love the name of the brand. And then the current campaign you have is called Flowers Self-Care Made Easy.
Right.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I truly love the focus on every day. Because why can't we feel special every day?
Exactly.
Right? And why can't we have the feeling that flowers bring us every day? Like you said, not just when life events or holidays tells us that flowers.
Exactly. And so the challenge is, how do we do that from a creative standpoint. So we decided to do, first we settled on kind of a, how do I explain, like a voice or a tone for the campaign. We wanted it to be funny, edgy, appealing to a much younger demographic, and we want it to be very shareable and kind of amplifiable through social media channels. And so that's how we settled on the creative content of taking this kind of young, very relatable, everyday woman. The actress we selected, her name is Lexi Braverman. She's absolutely amazing.
And I'm smiling because it truly is awesome. We'll have a link to it at the bottom here, so you guys can check it out and be entertained, and then actually share it. So.
Yeah. So we brought on Lexi. We also hired a director. His name is Dugan O'Neill, and he's done a lot of commercials that we've all seen.
And where did you do all this? Where did all this?
How did all this come together?
No, where was the location?
Oh, okay. So then, this is where it gets kind of odd. We did the filming of the commercial in Poland, in Warsaw, Poland. And there's a reason for doing that, which I'll explain. Okay. And then we did all the still photography in Amsterdam. And so we were over in Europe for about 2 weeks. Myself and Joost Bongaerts and Jeannie Boos, who headed the marketing committee for Cow Flowers. And I remember going to the first day of filming, not having any experience with this before. And we rented out a private house just outside of Warsaw. And by the time we showed up at 6:30 in the morning, there was a crew of 88 people there. They'd removed every single item from inside the house and packed it away on trucks and then replaced it with what they actually wanted to see for the set. So all the furniture you see in all the rooms, that was all brought in. It was all very intentional.
Was the flower shop in there too?
The flower shop was in a studio the next day. They actually built the flower shop from the ground up in the studio, which is another fun story. The bathroom scene, that's in the studio. That was not in the house. So there's certain things that were studio driven and some were in the house. But even just the level of detail, I remember there was one scene where she's doing yoga on the floor and trying to twist in this contorted position. And it was supposed to be raining, but it wasn't raining that day. So there was a guy standing outside the room, just holding a garden hose on the windows. You can see water. Well, the minorest detail, but it was all covered. That like this whole film production, it encompassed all these minute little details.
So
it was really fun to see it come
shows
together.
really how professionally done this was. I mean,
Yeah.
you see it, and I guess you just take it for granted that it's a fun piece to watch. But the effort that you guys put in to make this so professional is so important.
Yeah.
Right, and we wanted to capture the attention of the consumers, right?
Yeah, and it's actually just a really good moment to mention. Our goal is to make it extremely generalized because what we want is for the industry to embrace this and really feel like no matter who you are, you're a stakeholder in that flower field. And so the choice of flowers that went into it, as a matter of fact, just a few minutes ago in our booth, we pulled together a lot of the flower breeders that are here, the Deriders, Doom Orange, Deli Floor, also distributor Holex played a big role in assembling the flowers in Holland, trucking them over to Poland. We were very intentional with what was being used. We wanted flowers that are grown in California, flowers that are grown domestically, flowers that are grown in South America, flowers that are commonly related to the Dutch auction, things like that, so that everybody could feel they have a stake in this thing and really want to see it go. And so in each of the bouquets, the flower shop, what our goal is to have a very, very balanced kind of outlay. And so we were super, super careful about that. And we think we achieved the goal because so far the feedback we've gotten from around the industry is that everybody does feel a part of it and feels like it's relatable to their own business. Yeah. And so that was a really big part of it.
Yeah, a huge home run.
I hope so. So where we're at now is we're about halfway through our digital media strategy. So I was in Amsterdam last week working with 180 on analyzing our current metrics, and as they're just starting to come in now. And so far, it looks like we've reached about 23 million consumers through social media. We've also gone live on 7 different podcasts that are global podcasts. So most of these podcasts have followings anywhere from 600,000 to 3 million per episode. Like On Purpose with Jay Shetty is an extremely popular one. Call Her Daddy, Why Won't You Date Me? Some of them are funny, some of them are kind of self-care oriented, trying to get the full range. Yeah. So that's all in play now. We've rolled out so far about 15 influencers across TikTok and Instagram, and their views are now in the hundreds of thousands, and that all happened in the last week. And we add 10 more influencers later on this week, so it keeps going. And then we're still producing more assets. And so we have a website called thatflowerfeeling.org. And so this is the main point. If anybody who's listening to the podcast, this is the most relevant point of the whole thing. So we created this campaign for the industry. So Cal Flowers, it's a very altruistic approach. We don't really have skin in the game beyond we want to help our members grow their businesses, and we think consumption is the way to go. What that means is that we've created all these assets and we're giving them to everybody. Everybody can access them. Everybody can use them to leverage for their growth of their own business. So if you're a retail florist in Minneapolis, for example, you have full access to download the assets, use them in your own store marketing, whether it's email blasts, whether it's bouquet wraps, the logo's available, the films are available, the stills, there's posters, there's truck wraps. So we're just giving you a full range of what we want, what our goal is for everybody in the industry, wholesale, retail, production, import, you name it, to embrace this and continue to amplify it through their own social media channels, their own vehicles, their own marketing techniques. And an industry as creative as ours, we're just really excited to see what people can actually do with these assets once they have them in their hands. And we're up to about, I think we have maybe 220 businesses now have downloaded the assets and are using them.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping to get a lot more and for people to continue to access the website. We just uploaded more assets last week and we're going to keep refreshing them. So there's going to be new content as we go along. And so that's kind of where we're at now.
I know a lot of our customers, they would love to use social media more, but they don't always know how to have the team to create really awesome content. So this is a really great way for them to plug it in, throw it in weekly amongst all your other stuff. Create that or promote that flower feeling and have that be a buzz with your customers as well. I mean, this is it's on a silver plate for you, so you can take it and run with it and make yourself look super professional, because you are, and use what Steve and team have done, right, to just help elevate the everyday consumption of flowers in your area. I think it's brilliant and so appreciated.
Yeah, and the beauty is that as you're marketing it individually, we're backing it up with a massive digital media campaign. And so we can assure you that there's millions of consumers in your market that have seen us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Spotify, on TikTok. I mean, we're all over the place right now. It's a huge campaign. And so far, the various agencies we work with, which is a social media team in New York, our digital media strategy team in LA, and then the creative team in Amsterdam. We had a series of meetings last week and everybody's absolutely thrilled with our reach and our exposure. We're way ahead of our efficiency metrics. The people are clicking through the website, consumers are, to learn more about what we're doing. I think we're up to something like 4,000 visits to the website so far. And some come from Spotify, some come from Instagram, some come from TikTok, so across all platforms. So as much as any individual florist out there doing it, we're still backing it up. And so the view repetition is a big deal in kind of singing this message in. But then at the end of the day, when we do engage a consumer and they make that decision to go in, what we love is the fact that they're now going to engage with a full professional who has an opportunity to really drive home the point of how important flowers can be in their lives by working with them on creating the right design, the right price point, what kind of goals they try to achieve. So the front line of our industry, the retail florists, the designers, all the creative element of our industry, is going to be taking these new consumers in open arms, and we're just super excited about that part. Because it's a whole new level of engagement that's happening, and it's going to continue happening.
That's really awesome. And remind us of the hashtag.
So the hashtag is thatflowerfeeling. We want everybody to use that.
Yeah.
That's how we best amplify, across all the various platforms. So we're getting a lot of traction with that right now. And then ultimately, as we go forward with this, so Cal Flowers has made the initial investment. It was a very, very significant investment, but we can't do it forever on our own. So as part of our kind of mission here at the distribution conference, we're engaging stakeholders at all levels of the industry to find out what a voluntary funding model might look like. But since this particular podcast does have retail florists that are listening, we'd like to at least introduce the concept now that what it might look like in the future for a voluntary funding model is kind of a micro donation approach, where if we can get I think there's something like 18,000 retail florists last I checked in the US market. If we can get a significant percent of retail florists contributing to us in the hundreds of dollars on an annual pledge basis, that gives us a nice base to work from. And we're also going to be working with grocery stores and transport companies and breeders and growers and importers and wholesalers, and every segment has a role to play.
Everybody who touches the industry.
Yeah, and if everybody comes together at a funding level that makes sense for them, is comfortable for them, maybe is already within their marketing budget, and it's just a reallocation of marketing dollars, then we think we can really perpetuate this campaign, freshen up the assets every 2 years, which is a goal because you've got to constantly create new content, and keep driving out in digital media. And if we can do that, I honestly believe that this is the best chance the flower industry has had in decades to actually move the needle on consumption. We think we might actually have the right formula. So it's very exciting.
Well, and I was super excited when I first saw the launch of the campaign and of the company, the brand. So really happy and thankful to you and your team for doing this.
Absolutely.
On behalf of all of our customers.
Very much appreciated.
And I appreciate your time here, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Nancy.
Yeah.
It's been great. And happy to do any follow-ups or anything like that. But I would encourage people to go to thatflowerfilling.org. They have to email. There's an email on there.
Yep.
We'll receive the email. We'll set you with an access code, and then all the assets are downloadable, including a guide. You mentioned earlier some people don't have that skill set in the store in terms of managing social media and that sort of thing, but we have a guide in there. So all the assets you see, you know specifically how to use them, which platform, what size to use, all that sort of thing. So we try to make it as easy as possible. Because if you're like me, clueless when it comes to this stuff. So it's nice to have a little bit of a guide to work with.
Yes, sure. That was also really nice to see. Yeah, so super easy to use. Like you said, you just go to the thatflowerfeeling.org and
get the access code.
Once you have your access code, it's super easy to continue to go in and use the super professional content to bring flowers to the everyday to consumers. So thanks again.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for listening, and I'm excited for what we in the Midwest here can do for that flower feeling. Wow, I just learned so much more about really what went into the brand, That Flower Feeling, and the campaign on self-care made easy, and what it's going to do for our consumers, what it's going to do for our industry to just keep perpetually going with that self-care, what flowers can do. Super thankful for them. The t-shirt I had on display. If you do a comment below, I'm going to go ahead and send it to you. We will draw after a few days of this airing, and if your name gets drawn, I'll send you a t-shirt so you can promote it. And again, I'm going to mention the website of thatflowerfeeling.org. So I encourage you to also go there, and we'll actually put the link down below as well. And go ahead and get your access code so you can also have this free collateral that they put together. And let me tell you, you're gonna love it. It's creative, it's professional, and I'm just so excited about what it's gonna do. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.